Hi, I'm George Hill, the ogre at madogre.com, wethearm.com, and G-Code Holsters. And I've got here from glocktriggers.com the Haley Skimmer Trigger. Now this is specific for the Glock Gen 3 40 cal. You can get them for the 40 cal, the 9mm, Gen 3, or Gen 4. And what I've got here is a Gen 3 Glock Model 22 in 40 cal. And this is my wife's 40 cal. So what we're going to do here, you can see we're clear. We're going to take this apart and we're going to put in the Haley Skimmer Trigger. Now let's talk about the kit real quick. The kit comes with everything you need to replace all the moving parts. We've got the safety plunger that prevents the firing pin from moving forward unintentionally. We've got a new firing pin spring, and we've got the trigger mechanism itself. Now you can see that the parts are very highly polished, and that's one of the things that sets this part from everything else. The other thing is that it prevents the trigger from, well, it removes all that initial take up in the trigger pull. So there's a slight geometry change to go with all the polishing. But anything that is made out of metal is highly polished. Everything that moves, any bearing surface, is polished even more. So it's a fantastic setup. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove the old and busted so we can put in the new hotness. And there is the old piece. And that comes out as a unit, and we're going to replace it as a unit. Now, while we've got this opportunity, let's go ahead and clean it out. Okay, there we go. Put that in. Alright, and there's the first half of the install. Putting in the trigger mechanism itself. And I can already feel a huge difference in what this trigger was before, which was essentially stock and unmodified, to what it is now, which is very, very light. So excellent. That's the first part. The second part is what's in the slide. taking out all of those pieces to get access to the safety mechanism. To replace this spring here, you have to pull it back, take these halves out, and then you can take this spring off. And then we're going to replace it with what came in the kit. The new spring, and those new bushings. And this new spring is a very potent spring. It's not fatigued, and that makes this manipulation a little bit challenging if you got old arthritic fingers like I do. Okay, now with the new spring into place, we can reassemble this. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to push that plunger back down, push this back into place like so, push that back into place. Got the little Crusader weaponry cap, and what I like to do is I like to use my tool to push down those parts a little bit. Allow me to get those to seat nice and proper. So we've replaced all of these parts that are going to affect either positively or negatively the feel of the trigger pull. So now it's just a matter of reassembling the Glock. Barrel in, recoil spring in. Now this would also be a really good time to do an upgrade on your main recoil spring, but not necessary for our purposes today. So with everything into place, we reassemble, function check, oh yeah. Now you can see the initial take-up is greatly reduced, and the trigger pull is easily half of what it was before. Reset is fairly normal. Here, I'm gonna make sure that my pins are all flush to the right depth. Everything looks good. All my pins are centered. Trigger pull feels great. This gun is ready for a trip to the range. So that's how you install the Haley Skimmer Trigger. Really easily. The kit comes with everything you need. The only thing I needed to use was a punch and a pocket knife to clip off the little red thing holding it all together. And then what I like to do, in case I have a parts breakage, because these are still good parts, they're the factory OEM parts, I'm going to put them back into the little bags respectively, just so I make sure that I keep them all together in case whatever happens I need them. Because these are, I put in upgrades, so if I sell the Glock, I can keep that, and I keep it in my 40 cal Glock thing, so I know what it is. And you know, you think you might want to put that back on there, but don't put it on there because this isn't a Skimmer trigger anymore. But I'm going to keep that in there, and there you go. We are good to go. And the Glock now has a good upgrade, and it's ready for, oh, probably another 100,000 rounds. Very good. Thanks for joining me. This took all of maybe 5 minutes total time, maybe a little bit longer because I'm explaining things. But really good trigger pull now. I really like it. Now all we have to do is see if my wife likes it. So, peace out. Okay, let's really quickly go over what the Haley Skimmer Trigger is. From GlockTriggers.com, from Haley Strategic Partners website, we see that the Skimmer Trigger is a carry trigger system. So what you're getting is you're getting OEM parts that are improved greatly through hand polishing and hand finishing, and with a slight geometry change to remove the initial take-up. The purpose of this trigger is for the EDC gun. It's for the law enforcement gun, the gun that you're going to depend on. And because there's no drastic change in some departments that don't allow trick triggers, these are still OEM parts. All of these parts are OEM, just refinished. That requires a lot of hand work. And I talked to Jeff at GlockTriggers.com about this. And any of you can contact GlockTriggers.com and ask him about it, and Jeff will be happy to share his insight with you and explain things for you if you have any questions. But this is designed to be a serious use gun and trigger for your gun, for your sheepdog, for your Leo, for the military guy. This is absolutely a great trigger for you because you're not putting in a trick competition trigger. If that's what you want, if you want a drastic change off of OEM, there's other triggers from GlockTriggers.com for that. I recommend this trigger highly because it is a big improvement over what comes from Glock from the factory, which is just fine, but there's a lot of room for improvement, and the Skimmer trigger takes up that room. It makes those improvements. So what you get is a very reliable trigger that's very, it's a lot better than what comes before. And it's worth the money, I feel. This is the second Skimmer trigger I've installed. The other one shot very well, and I can't wait to get this one out to the range to shoot it again. The other one was in a 23. This is going into a Model 22. And I can't recommend it any higher than that. I'm putting it in my own wife's gun to protect her and to protect my boys when I'm not around. So it's got my seal of approval. I think it's a great thing to get for your Glock. I don't know what else to say about that. If you have any questions, contact GlockTriggers.com and ask them. Jeff would be happy to answer any question for you. That's the Ogre. Peace.